Anton, thank you so much for being here.
Happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Anton, on paper, your resume looks perfect. You graduate, you do a bunch of interns, you get into big tech, and then, you end up working there. And after a couple of years, you start your own company. So the first question that comes to mind is, if you intern at big tech, does this kind of guarantee your way in? Was this kind of the path that you were on? Like, I wanted to get into a big company and then eventually get employed by them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good question. I think on paper, and thank you for the compliment, by the way. On paper, definitely, I've been pretty lucky. I think with the internships, the job I got out of school. I think is really fortunate. I think getting into like a big tech company is from my experience, like talking to people. Specifically companies like Amazon, Google, like the standard FANG companies. I found that process for getting in is a lot easier through an internship, for sure. I think the interview is the expectations are significantly lower, and you still do the whole lead code and like whatever their 5 step interview stages, but definitely a lot easier to get into big tech from an internship, in my opinion. And most people that I've spoken to, it's yeah, the expectation between internship interview versus a full-time position, it's different. Yeah, so uh,
So was that kind of the dream, like get into big tech when you were a bit younger? Is that what you wanted?
yeah, so for me, I had a really interesting journey. So I actually originally studied civil engineering. I was not in tech, so this is ages ago. And after studying civil engineering, I worked for about 2 years in totally different fields. Now, mind you, in civil engineering, I did about 5 programming courses. C, like introduction to programming, ones and zeros, everything about the fundamentals, um, and I enjoyed it. But it never dawned on me that, oh, maybe I should switch. I kind of like this. This is fun. Like programming in C, programming in Python, this is fun. Scripting is fun. Making a website is fun. But I was like, okay, I'll just continue with my program. It didn't dawn on me to, that this was a possibility that I could do this. I felt like I had already made my choice. I'm going to be a civil engineer. That's it. But at the end of when I graduated, I didn't really like it. Like I worked with civil engineers. I did a lot of work. I did extracurriculars in school. We did a competition where we literally built like a mini bridge with steel, and we drove with it to the States to compete. They put weight on it and test it. And so, but I realized I didn't really like it. So out of school was figuring out what I wanted, and sort of led me back to programming. And I decided I'm like, okay, I want to do this the long way, the right way, really, really strengthen my fundamentals. So I went back. I did 2 years of CS, computer science, and at that time, the dream definitely was to get into big tech. I think they're from a like HR perspective, their marketing is extremely well. It's really appealing to engineers to work there. The pay is good. It's a stable job. They have interesting work. So definitely that was like for me, that was like the at the time the peak, the goal. Absolutely. Yeah. So I was during school, during my time, all I was doing was so I heard the term recently, someone said FANG optimizing. So I was FANG optimizing for the entirety of my education. I'm like, okay, data structures, nail it down. Algorithms, nail it down. Like projects, got it. Like open source, got it. you know, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, did you feel like having a civil engineer background separates you from the rest of the people that work there? Or were there a lot of people with various backgrounds?
There was definitely a lot of people with various backgrounds. I think I was part of it, but during the time in the last, I don't know if you remember, but I think it was like 2019, 2018, like way like before and during COVID, there was a huge push and like in social media, in conversations online, and just in general in hiring, there was such a huge push to and appeal towards tech. Like everyone was getting into tech. Everyone was going to tech boot camp. Everyone was becoming a software engineer with this 200K, 300K salary. So during this push, I think many people entered tech. Many people who are extremely smart, they did masters in mechanical engineering. They did extremely complex programs, but they're like, okay, there's more interesting work in tech. It pays better, way more opportunity. So I'm going to do the same thing. And so, in my experience, I found there's people of various backgrounds. Core at Amazon specifically, the core workforce was like computer science graduates. But there's definitely met quite a few, especially in other companies that didn't have a computer science background, but they clearly studied their ass off because they knew what they were doing. Yeah.
I think, I mean, you described it really well. There was a huge shift because, like maybe a decade ago, you had all those people that started coding when they were like seven. You know,
Yeah.
these were the types of profiles they used to get in those big companies. But now I feel like since COVID, the lockdowns, everyone stayed home, everyone wanted to work remotely. The obvious thing was learn to code. Everyone was saying learn
Yeah.
to code. And so I respect that, I relate to it. But now let's move forward. So you get into Amazon, you spend a couple of years, and then you leave and you start your own company. So tell me, what happened?
So this was actually I don't even know where to begin, to be honest, but this was a really hard decision. Um, I really liked the work I was doing at Amazon. Like you hear all types of stories. Like some people are like, "Oh man, it was hell. We were worked to the bone. We didn't sleep." But then, in my case, I felt I got really lucky. Within 2 3 months, I got moved to a team where majority of our projects were Greenfield, like completely from scratch, and it was a small team where um, our it was a very very interesting situation, but a small team where it was me, an engineer about 3 4 years that has been at Amazon, and then two extremely experienced engineers, one lead and then one principal that's been at Amazon for about a decade, over a decade, and they were fucking geniuses, like really smart people. I felt dumb every day, and it was great. Like I learned so much, and all of our projects were from scratch. So it was like, okay, we have 3 months. We need to build, design this. The principal would handle conversations with product teams, other teams that were going to use our product, and then I would give a general design, and then I had to build it from scratch. So that included, any user interfaces that we're building, any backend systems, any libraries that we're building for our clients, like Java library, JavaScript library, whatever they needed. Like we were doing so much on such a small team, and we were able to produce at a really high pace. One, because it was a fresh project, and two, there was it was just engineers. Like our principal, like he took all the burden of the bureaucratic
Mhm.
conversations, and he enabled us to just build. So I learned so much during this time period, but came to an end. I was being moved to a different team, and at this time as well, I was already for a long time, saving up and had this idea that I wanted to leave, try to build something. So those two things happened at the same time, I think, and it really pushed me to finally make that decision to leave and try to start something of my own. But it was tough. It was very tough mentally, I think, to walk away from a good job that you enjoy, and to try to take this risk. Um, but you probably know because you mentioned you did something similar. Like what was it in your case that
Well,
made you decide to try something on your own?
it's when I look at people around me that have been in the same place for decades, it just scares me. I don't know why. It just like I don't care if the pay is amazing. I don't care if there's promotions and stuff. It just scares me the fact that you're gonna be in the same place for the next 2 3 decades. I don't know what it
Hmm.
is. It's just it feels off to me. So I guess there's this instinct to just build stuff for yourself, especially nowadays in the age of vibe coding and all these tools. I mean, they're basically giving you everything on a silver platter and telling you, just build it, man. Just you have an idea,
Yeah.
just do it, right? Like I remember I
Yeah.
used to have these friends come up to me and say like, hey, I mean, I know it's so generic, but they say, yeah, I have this idea, we should do this and this and that. I'm like, so just build your MVP, just write it
Yeah.
on on those these vibe coding apps and just do it. So you don't need anyone anymore. So uh, it's just different times, man. I feel like things are changing so quickly. So now you decide to leave Amazon and it's funny because when I first saw what you were building, I was so happy because I know it's super strange, but when we were in lockdown,
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
I used to go to these websites and try to improve my typing speed. I don't
Oh,
know
nice.
why. I have no idea why. It's just someday I saw a post or something about it, like some guy who writes 200 words per minute, and I'm like, I wonder how fast I write. And then I
Uh-huh.
realized that I was so bad. Like I always thought I was pretty good, but when I saw the numbers, I did it on your app, by the way. I was like
Oh,
75, and
oh, that's solid.
and
That's really
that
good.
I guess that's okay if you look at the world average, but if you
Hmm.
look at people in the industry, I mean, people easily hit 100. And when I saw the
Oh
breakdown
man,
in your
yeah.
app, I'm like, they know everything. I mean, you know everything about the speed, my fingers, which letters. It's crazy. So how do you come up with that?
Yeah, so for TypeQuicker, so I've similar shoes as you, but as someone early on in my career, very early on, like when I was just starting my very first internship, there was one. I started getting a lot of hand pain, and I tried everything, like ergonomic chair. I tried like standing desk, everything, and like adjusting my posture. I even got like one of these crazy keyboards,
That is a crazy
and
keyboard.
I can talk about it all day, so I have to be cautious about talking about the keyboard.
Yeah.
um, but and this one engineer suggested, he's like, hey, how do you type? Like, what are you using proper touch typing? Are you putting too much pressure? Like, are you straining your hands in an awkward way? Are you looking down a lot? And it was yes to everything. Like I was looking down a lot. I was doing weird stretches. I wasn't touch typing. And he suggested like try learning how to type properly. Don't look down. He said for in his case it reduced like neck pain, it reduced headaches because your head going up and down like this, like you're writing code, symbols, like messages all day, you're typing, and you're doing all these uncomfortable things with your fingers and your neck. And so he's made a suggestion. And like after I did the same thing, I spent time learning. And it was at the same time that I was entering this field. I'm like, there was this one YouTuber I watched at the time. He was very early on in his. I think he's huge now. Maybe you probably heard of him, the Primogen. Have you heard him by any chance? He's like super into like Linux typing.
Maybe I don't know. Doesn't
Check
ring a
him
bell.
out. Check it. He has some pretty good content. He does podcasts occasionally too, and but he always had the idea of. But anyway, this was the influence that had this made me led me to this decision. Was he always said, if you're using something, try to build like a toy version of it. So I did. I built like an initial version. Could even show you later, but it looked awful. But so I just built this tool for myself, and then from that very first internship, I would always come back to it a little bit. My girlfriend, she got tired of me hearing about it because I'd be like, "Oh, I want to add this feature to it," and she's like, "Shut up about TypeQuicker already." Like, I don't care. But she was always very supportive, but definitely tired of hearing it. And but I just kept adding more and more features to it and kept using it, and I started getting faster, and pain was gone. Like, and then I noticed one thing that sort of changed when I started to get really fast. Like we're talking entering over 100 space words per minute, and I completely stopped thinking about the keyboard. Like sort of the interface between me and like whatever I'm doing on my computer, whether it's messaging somebody, writing an email, writing code. I've become like sort of the mind to the task connection was very smooth. Like I didn't have to think, or there's no friction at all when writing. And this was so satisfying and so game changing because I noticed I stopped. Sometimes when you have to write a long email or a message, or you have to write something, you might feel a little bit of procrastination. Like,
Yeah.
well, at least for me, I have this. I sometimes, I don't want to write this, but when I learned to type better and faster, I was now eager to do it because I'm like, oh, I can do this quickly. Like it's just my thoughts. Like I'm just putting it down on the keyboard, and it became so smooth. And then this sort of real, I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me try to actually publish this. Maybe someone else will use it, and slowly, organically, like I made one Hacker News post, and like a couple of Reddit posts, and people liked it. So then I'm like, hey, let me continue with this. Let me see where I can take this. So originally, this was not like TypeQuicker was not the plan for my business. Like I was mostly thinking in like B2B space. Like there was a bunch of tools like that I wanted to build for developers, and typing the like education tech was not it at the time. But yeah, it all started with just one conversation with this one engineer who pushed me in this direction, and I decided to just build something for myself, and here we are.
You know why I love this is because out of all the people I've talked to, there's this common theme that they love what they've built. I mean, sometimes you build something that you love and it's something that no one else wants in the market. But
Yeah.
sometimes, I mean, sometimes, it's hyper specialized and you're like, you
Yeah,
know
it's
what, at
super
least I enjoy
niche.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I think, everyone's typing. The way you described it, I mean, you took it to that was a great pitch, by the way,
Oh, thanks.
because
I wasn't trying to,
no,
but
because
maybe
it's
I'll clip that. Maybe I'll clip
no, because
that.
it was not about the how fast. You didn't mention the numbers. Like you're not saying you go from 90 to 200. What you're saying is it just gets so much more comfortable. Like you have
Yeah,
in 30 seconds, you can do what you were doing in 2, 3 minutes. So now it's worth it. It's like you don't have to think about it. You have a thought, boom, you write it down, and it's so quick. And so,
exactly.
where do you plan on taking this? Is it like the first of Anton's many ideas, or is this something you want to build into something bigger? You want to spread it, distribute it to more people? What's the next step here?
Right now, I initial step was I leave Amazon. I publish this. Maybe do a little bit of try to learn a little bit more about marketing, which I know nothing about. I'm a complete dummy when it comes to marketing sales. Also just very tech oriented. And initial plan was just to release this, see what happens, let it grow organically, maybe mention it to some influencers, some tech people, etc., and then focus on other ideas. But so far, I've realized it's actually really hard to grow something. So the, for now, I'm giving myself about a year, see where I can take this. And plan right now is to grow just directly to consumers, try to distribute it through, organic means. We're going to try to see if we can work with some influencers. We're just starting out our like marketing process. So, um, and I say we, it's mostly me, myself, and I. But I realized there's a lot of work related to this. So I actually hired someone, an assistant, marketing assistant, to help me out with a lot of this work, outreach, stuff like that. And so the plan is to distribute it directly to users, anyone who might be interested, and also explore. We're starting to have conversations with like tutoring agencies, private schools, and homeschools, things like that. Like sort of targeting the anyone in the education sector. Um, and so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Maybe in the future, even sort of like teams, like for even like tech teams. If you're coding in a certain language, you might just want to like race your friends in that language, and so you have this tool your company buys. Probably wouldn't be very expensive for the company, but just this add in some sort of like corporate typing training tool. And market it to corporate teams. But that's a bit of a stretch. So first is consumers, and then education. This is the path that the existing competitors have done. So that's what I'm gonna try as well. And giving this about a year, see how it goes. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Like if financially quitting Amazon and trying to build a business from scratch, financially, it's like it's the worst decision you can make. But for your own. So I like what you said. You're like, I looked around and I see people, working at jobs and places for like 10, 20 years, and you just didn't see yourself there. That's sort of how I feel, and I'm willing to take the risks, and find out. So we'll see. But yeah, plan is directly to consumers and to small education businesses. So we'll see.
Anton, I think TypeQuicker is super fun. I think it can be very useful to a lot of people. I think distribution is and should be your main focus right now. I think this is going to be one of many things that you're going to build in the next couple of years. So, anyways, thanks so much for taking the time. That was super fun, and I
I
really enjoyed this.
appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, if you ever want to chat again, or if our paths cross in some way or in business, I'm happy to chat more. I didn't even realize the time. Like,
Yeah,
holy
that's
moly. I talk a lot. I talk a lot.
no, it's 20 minutes. It was fun.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks so much for hosting me, and yeah, for reaching out. I appreciate it. I wish you the best, and yeah, I'm
Awesome.
gonna definitely gonna share this podcast with, yeah. Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thanks.